Hello, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Headset. And today we are graced with the presence of Beardo Benjo. How are we doing, Ben?
I'm very well, thank you. Cheers for having me on, man. Lovely to see you again.
And Sev, it was literally less than a week since we actually saw each other in person.
Twice in a week.
I know.
What a treat.
Privileged for both of us, I feel, is the way that it works.
I agree.
Excellent. Okay, Ben. What we're going to do today is we are going to learn a little bit more about you as a person. So we've got 3 sets of questions for you. The first section is all about you. Second section is about VR and gaming. And the third one's a fun little questionnaire that we'll go through when we get there. So we're going to go straight into it for you. And your first question today is, tell me something about you that I don't know.
I used to be in a band.
Did you?
I did. I used to
What
sing
did you
and play guitar.
You sang and played guitar. What sort of
Lead
music?
singer and guitar. Melodic punk pop, I would like to say. Very much kind of Alkaline Trio-esque. That kind of vein, a little bit Blink 182-ish, but obviously UK version, and nowhere near as tight and good because we were like a garage punk band, really.
That's fine.
But yeah, no, I used to do that. I did that for many years actually. I used to have very long hair. I'll provide you a stock picture if you like, and you can put that on the screen now. But yeah, I had really long hair, and we just did like local gigs. We did Milton Keynes, like Bedfordshire, Luton, that kind of thing. It was great. I loved it. I'm a big music guy, so it was kind of my. I would love to do this as a job, but then realised quite quickly that's very not quite good enough to do that as a job, and secondly, like very hard to go and do that as a job. So
to be fair, I've done a lot of actual jobs where I'm like, I don't feel good enough to do this job, but I've carried on doing them.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So did you write your own songs as well, or you cover band? Or
yeah, no, it started with me and a close friend, one of my best friends from school, Jamie. We used to just jam at my house, and we used to do covers. We used to just cover like Blink-182 songs and Nirvana and Silverchair and whatever we kind of fancy playing that day. And we just sit with he had an acoustic bass and I had an acoustic guitar. And then we met a guy who could drum, and we were like, hey, let's write our own songs. And me and him did most of the writing, and yeah, we wrote kind of, I don't know, 20 odd songs, and that's kind of what we gigged around, and they're still out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would advise you seek them out.
Can you remember the title of one or two of these songs? I'm intrigued.
Oh, yeah. We had a song called Spoon Shine. We had a song called Sparks. We had a song called Ignorantics, I think it was, which is like ignorant and like just smashing words together. But yeah, they were very kind of they were very angsty teen songs with a little bit of melody in them and lots of power chords and nothing super complex.
Okay.
Good fun garage punk music, really.
Fair enough. Don't be surprised. Think you knew that. No, I did not know that. That's excellent. That's really good. You have correctly answered the first question. Don't be surprised if you're going to get in the comments of this, I want to hear this music. So you
I know, that terrifies me, man. I've got like a shoebox in this room somewhere, and in there's the we went and recorded an EP, and I still have like a CD copy of it, but I don't think you can get it online anywhere. Ooh. So I think I'm safe for now.
For now.
For now.
Okay. All right. When you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh man. Other than a musician, I think I struggled for a really long time figuring out what I wanted to do, and I always felt the pressure of like needing to figure out what I wanted to do because everyone around me was really clear and concise in terms of like, well, I want to go and be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a vet. And I kind of never knew, and I was always quite creative, so my instincts always led me towards creative pursuits. So whether that was animating or filmmaking or music, something where I could express myself creatively. And I think in a kind of a roundabout way, I found myself there with YouTube. But I think for the longest time, I wasn't super young at this point, but I went to university to study like filmmaking. I did I did a media and filmmaking course with a kind of a side of film theory because I was so intent for the longest time. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make films. And then after studying for 3 years, I realized I loved consuming film and kind of almost analyzing film more than the process of making a film.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of that. And that, I think that's quite typical of a lot of people, is that you lean towards your passions and you think, that's what I'll do. But then you learn how the sausage is made, and it's like, oh, I don't actually like the creation of that. I love consuming the thing, the product, but the actual. So yeah, I think creative pursuits, but I was never sure what one. I think I leaned the hardest towards film for the longest time, and then there's still connections in kind of what I do now in a way, so I still get that creative outlet. But yeah, for the longest time, I was like, yeah, I want to make movies. I want to make movies, but it never kind of panned out.
I'm very similar in that aspect. I've always had I want to make film, but like you, it's kind of like no. I just like watching and talking about them with my friends at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Because I think there was something recently, because like you say, like how the sausage is made. So we've literally just had the launch of Severance season 2, and the first episode, there's like that 3-minute single shot, and my was how did they do that? And I was like, how? Yeah. And I tweeted out going, please to give us a how you did this. And obviously it wasn't anything but me. But a couple of days later, they were like, this is how we did this. And I was like, excellent. So and that was really interesting.
Long to do this 3-minute long tracking shot almost.
Yeah, it's insane what goes into it. But no, it's that sort of stuff I find fascinating as well.
Same. And it took me going to university for 3 years to figure out that I was like, okay, no, I don't actually want to make these things. I'm just fascinated by the process of them and just the art of it. And I think it's just one of the, I could talk about film forever, but it's my favorite medium for human expression. I love it more than anything. I could watch films every day. I'd be content to just sit.
You and me both, man. I mean, like say offline, you and I have spoken about various films for ages, and we'll do. But that's really cool.
I love it.
Good. What is your most treasured memory from childhood?
Oh God. Does anyone say like, I don't have one?
Some people have said they didn't have a great time growing up.
I don't think I had a bad childhood by any stretch of the imagination, but I was also a bit of an outsider. Like I was never a popular kid. I was bullied for a lot of my childhood. And only had like a really, really small group of friends. Like, I might have one friend at a time, and I was just like that was my island in the storm, kind of like one person I could rely on. So I don't know that I necessarily have just like super cherished memories. Again, it's going to sound like I'm just some kind of like film man, but I do have a vivid memory of seeing, and it's crazy because I would have been very young. Did it come out in 95? I saw Jurassic Park at the cinema when it came out, and I was only very little. I feel like, was it 95? Maybe?
That's about right for Jurassic Park, yeah.
So I would have been 7 at a push. And I remember I had a denim jacket on, little denim jacket, and I remember I was hiding under the denim jacket for like almost the entire scene where the T-Rex breaks out of the paddock. The film like amazed me, and I was terrified. I remember that vividly. I didn't have a bad childhood by any stretch of imagination. I really didn't. But like, yeah, it's not a time that I look back on super fondly. Like, I'm more secure and happy in my adult self than I ever was. I was an awkward kid, you know? Yeah. I didn't know how I fit in. I couldn't figure out how to fit in. And I gravitated towards the people that were like outsiders like me. And it was nice to find that little group. But growing up's hard. Growing up's hard, man. Like being a kid is tough, and kids are cruel. Like other kids are just awful. So
kids have no filter.
Kids have no filter. They have no, and I get it. I didn't have a filter, but it's watching movies, spending rainy weekends playing my N64 and trying to get all the stars in Mario, or try and figure out how to progress in Ocarina of Time. Like, video games is really like my cherished memories, because that's where I was the safest, when I was at home on my bed playing NCT, playing GoldenEye with a friend. Or like that was it. That was my real bastion. But yeah, I do still vividly remember seeing Jurassic Park in the cinema, and just being like,
that's cool.
They're real. Dinosaurs are real.
Cool. I still recall the the first thing I can vividly recall going to the cinema to see myself. So my dad used to take me and my sister when we were very young. So Mum had Sunday morning to herself for a bit.
Nice.
And the film that I remember the most more than anything else is Condor Man, which most people will not know. Condor Man is a superhero film made by Disney before they owned Marvel. Bear in mind, this is when I was a kid, and I'm 47. And it stars Michael Crawford
as Condor Man.
As Condor Man. The plot
of
the film.
It's probably not on Disney Plus.
Do you know what? It might be. Oliver Reed plays the bad guy.
Amazing.
It is one of the worst films you will ever see. But
that doesn't stop me from wanting to watch it.
It's worth. I would say watch it because it's an experience.
Okay, Condor Man.
Condor Man.
I'll seek it out. I'll find it on VHS somewhere.
I'm sure your favourite streaming service can find it at some point.
I hope they can.
All right, then. You are going to be hosting a dinner party. And at this dinner party, you can invite any 3 people you want. They can be living, they can be dead, they can be real, they can be fictional. Which 3 people are you inviting?
Oh, God. I feel bad for them because I can't cook. So I don't know what they're eating.
Well, let's get Molly cooking and you can just enjoy the meal.
That'll go better. That'll go better. Or I'll get takeout. It's fine. I'll get some pizza. Oh, man. Okay. Right. Post Malone can come because he loves Magic. He loves Magic the Gathering. And I'd quite like to sit down and play a game of Magic the Gathering with Post Malone. Right. I like his music too. He seems like a really sound guy. Like every time I've seen him in interviews, he just seems like a really chill, polite man. But he really likes Magic the Gathering, and I love Magic the Gathering, and I'd love to play a game with him. That would be very cool. Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, nice.
You know,
my childhood crush.
Yeah, just the archetypal Scream Queen, like I guess
underrated comedy actress.
Underrated comedy actress. I think as a child, just like a woman that showed me how badass a woman could be, like how strong a woman could be, and just one of my favorite actresses, my favorite actors. Like I'd love to sit down and just hear stories from the set of all the Alien films, and working with James Cameron and working with Ridley Scott, and God, everything that went. I love Alien like with a burning passion. So I would love to sit down and speak to her. But no, she is an absolute icon of cinema. It's a lot of cinema stuff. And then in a separate vein, not alive anymore, sadly, but George A. Romero. I would love to sit down and kind of dig into his consciousness about zombies and the way that he portrayed them, because I'm a big horror guy and I'm a big zombie fan. And I love his take on zombies, and kind of that was actually my dissertation that I wrote at university, was about George A. Romero and the way his God, I couldn't paraphrase it now, but the way his zombie films paralleled the state of America during the time at which they came out, and the presidents that were in office, and the political states of the country, because they were very political films. But I just loved his take on zombies. I'd love to sit down and speak to him, and I'd want to dig into what happened with the lost, forgotten Resident Evil film that he was supposed to make, which I would love to know more about. Yeah, play a little bit of Magic the Gathering, Post Malone, and then I'd chat to Sigourney, and I'd chat to George, and we'd probably eat a pizza that I ordered from Domino's, because, as I say, I'm not cooking for anybody. That's ridiculous.
No, that's cool. That sounds great. That's really good.
You can come as well if you'd like.
No, that's fine. You've got guests to entertain. We can
go
out another time. It's fine.
All right.
I appreciate the offer. To be fair, no one has said me yet in this, so
bastards. Everyone, VR community, what a bunch of bastards.
It's the only reason I asked, to be fair. No, it's not.
Please say me. Please say
me. So with your love of zombies, and we're going to go a bit off topic here, have you ever seen a film called The Serpent and the Rainbow?
No, you have honestly, maybe I should invite you, because you have this strange encyclopedic knowledge of films I've never heard of, and I love that.
One place that I used to work, I was called the Human IMDb.
I love that.
Um, so The Serpent and the Rainbow is a film starring Bill Pullman, and it is based on a guy called Wade Davis, who is the guy who he was a real person, and he went to the West Indies, and he discovered where the zombie lore and myth came from,
Where it came from.
and looked at the actual science behind it as well. And the film The Serpent and the Rainbow is made by Wes Craven.
Oh, okay. I'll add that up. I've thrown my phone over here, but I'll make a note of that.
I will remind you when we're done.
Thank you.
So it's fine. I think you'll enjoy that one because it's about the actual real thing of where zombies come from.
The ethos, like the lore.
Yeah. Cool.
Love that.
There you go. See, every day's a school day. All right. What would you most like to change about yourself?
Like physically, mentally, spiritually?
No wrong answers.
Physically, I'd love to be able to grow hair again. That would be great. Like it was like one of these inevitabilities that was always coming for me. Like my dad went bald in his 30s and like receding hairline and all this. Mm-hmm. And if I try and grow it now, it's just patchy nonsense. And I embraced it and went, no. I remember the day I did it. It was like a chaotic day. My nan died, and then I decided to shave my head. And Molly was horrified. It was like this day where everything happened, and I was like, I just tipped. I was like, I see, I've had enough. I'm shaving my head. And she was like, I'm going to bed. I can't take any more of this. And I was like, that's fair. Your husband's now bald, and all this is kicking off. But yeah, I would love to be able to grow hair again because, like, throughout all of, I had like the longest hair, and I loved having long hair. I wouldn't have long hair now, but I would like to be able to style it, have a mohawk. Like, I just like that. There's one part of it where it's like, yeah, it's nice. You just kind of one less thing to worry about in the shower, and one less thing to worry about like drying it and paying for haircuts and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it is nice. So then the beard is the compensation. Like, okay, well, I can have a beard now. I can have hair somewhere. Physically, yeah, I'd love to be able to grow hair again. I think, like, in terms of like me as a person, I think something I would like to change would be, I think how prone to anxiety I am. I'm riddled with anxiety, and it's one thing I've never been able to. I've done a lot to help myself fight it and learn techniques to overcome it and not let it consume me, but it is still like, it's like a constant battle, and some days it's draining. Like it's exhausting to live with consistent anxiety about everything, health anxiety, flight anxiety. I'm not even on a plane. Flight anxiety, like just anxiety of going out into the world. It's a lot. If I could just remove that part of my brain, oh my word, that would be. I'm sure life would feel lighter, if I could just get rid of all anxiety. It keeps me up at night. I struggle with sleep because I'm often anxious and my brain's going a million miles an hour all the time. So if I could just switch that off, but I know everyone in the world would say the same thing because it's such I know it affects so many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd grow my hair back and I'd have no anxiety.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe those two. Maybe it's like Samson, and
they're
once
linked.
Your hair when the anxiety came in.
I was never anxious when I was younger. Not even a bit.
Maybe you could like get a wig and fool your brain or something.
I couldn't do it, and that's the other thing. People have been like, just go to blooming Turkey and get hair plugs. And I'm like, no, like I've gone bald. That's the way it was meant to happen. I'm embracing it. I'm shaving it. That's it. I'm rocking it. Don't worry about it. But if I could just magically grow it back, that would be nice.
There was a place where I worked with a lot of expats from a foreign country, and one of them, bald as coot, went home for a month, came back, full head of hair, and it was like, don't say anything.
I love that.
It's like, don't say a word. I'm like this, but yeah.
I love that. I had a regular customer when I worked at Game for years, and he would come in 2 or 3 times a week, and he was, as you said, like bold as anything, complete cue ball, like shiny. And then one day he just came in with the most unconvincing wig, and it was like, we didn't want to say anything. He didn't say anything, and it was just you just have to treat it like it's the most normal thing in the world.
It's
I
one of
love
those
that.
unspoken rules, isn't it? It's like
Don't
when you
mention
stand
it.
at the urinal, you don't go, "All right," you just,
No eye
No.
contact, straight down. 100%.
It's exactly the same.
It is the same thing.
All right then. How do you deal with criticism?
Oh, God.
Speaking of anxiety,
oh man, I'm genuinely awful with it because I really struggle to separate the genuine criticism from the stuff which is
trolls.
yeah, especially being in a kind of I've got myself to a position where I've done YouTube now for like probably 6 years. It's probably the 6th year. And I've got to this place where I don't engage with comments or with any kind of feedback as much as I would like to. I would love to be able to sit in comments, in my own comments, and read them all and speak back and all that, because 90% are lovely. But I know the physical effect and the mental toll it has on me to look at the 10%. So for my own sanity and to keep me making content, because I love making videos and I love playing video games and I love shining the spotlight on VR and I love just dicking about in front of a camera. To be able to keep doing that, I have to protect that part of my sanity. And often I would see criticism that was fine and it was valid, and I would be able to talk, have a dialogue with those people, but that was closer to the start when the channel was smaller. You would get kind of genuine feedback about like, oh, your microphone's crap. I don't like the sound quality. You're peaking a bit. This doesn't look good.
Helpful.
This is too
constructive criticism.
Constructive stuff, and like you don't need the little Beardo Benjo jingle intro for your videos because that's time wasted, and that's gone. I got rid of it, And I read that stuff and I hear that stuff and I go, you know what, it makes sense. And I implement a lot of what I see in my comments if people don't like things, because although I might not respond to them all because I just don't have the mental capacity, I do still read a lot, and I will implement things that I think are like it's genuine. That's a bloody good idea. But so much of it is. I kind of almost wouldn't even call it criticism. It so much of what you get online these days is it's just like abuse. It's just abuse that's just flung out there. Like it's just people are so quick to just get on that keyboard and just they let rip. And I don't cope well with it, and I have a real tendency to snap back and say nasty things back, and I have a real tendency to hit back as hard as they hit me, or maybe harder. And I don't want to be that person, so I kind of have to try to stop myself because I don't have that. I want to protect myself because I know who I am and I know why I do this. And when people make assumptions or say things, I'm like, oh, no, you. So
really?
I do struggle, and I'm sure that's human. It's normal. Criticism, constructive criticism, amazing, and I always take ideas on board. But I would say a lot of what you get if you're doing YouTube isn't criticism; it is just people just coming for you, and that's tough.
Yeah, there are a fair amount of attacks. Even creators as small as I am get attacked, and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's no need for it, but unfortunately, that is the world that we live in.
It's the territory; it comes with it. Sadly, but it has to be something you accept. But
you have to have a pretty thick skin if you're going to do this sort of thing.
1,000%. It's the top of the list of like advice I would ever give to people thinking about doing it. Is have thick skin or grow it quickly.
That's the second bit of advice. The first bit of advice is don't do it.
Don't do it. Turn around now. Go back.
Yeah. All right then. What type of routine do you follow daily, if any type of routine at all?
A forced one, because I still work a full-time job. So therefore, I have to be sitting at a certain place doing a certain thing
Mhm.
between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., which is actually quite a nice working day.
Not
You know,
bad.
it ain't quite 9 to 5. But I get to finish at 4 o'clock on a Friday, so it's pretty good. So yeah, I do
Mhm.
still work a full-time job, so I have a routine that's like thrust upon me, which is probably a
Mhm.
good thing for Monday to Friday, because without routine, I'm a mess. If I don't have structure, oh my word, I'm a night owl for one, so I like to stretch my day as long as possible.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you feel this, but there's that thing where if you've been working until, let's say, 5 o'clock, and then it's your free time, you don't want your free time, even if you're tired, you don't want your free time to like end at 8 p.m. because that's only like 3 hours. So no, I'm going to go for as long as I can. So I do that a lot, and I stay up until probably at least 1 a.m. most days. But if it's a day where I haven't got to get up the next day, I'll go even later. But on the weekends, like if I have nowhere to be and nothing to do, oh yeah, I'll get out, I'll roll out of bed at 11 o'clock, half 11, like close to midday. I won't shower, like I'm just swanning about in shorts all day. Like I really enjoy being comfortable, being around my creature comforts, being around the people I love, and just living a life that's like I don't need a lot to be happy. Just a film, a day off, a bowl of popcorn. Like I'm cool. I'm content, man. Like I'm having a good time. So I have a routine, but it really is like I'm not I'm not a gym goer. I don't do any of these things. Me and Molly will go for a walk. We'll go for a walk every day. So like get
Mhm.
the blood pumping, do a walk. You know, we have to move. We can't just not move. So we'll always go for a walk. So there is, I do get out. Gamertag VR would tell you that I don't like to stand up, which is one thing he says about me all the time. But I do, in fact, stand up a lot and I walk a lot. I'm just putting that to bed right now. But yeah, I have routines for work, and I have routines if they're imposed upon me because I maybe have a video that I've agreed to do, let's say.
Mhm.
Uh, but I don't do a lot of paid promo stuff, so often that doesn't happen. It's usually embargoes and things. But no, yeah, I like staying in bed late. I like staying up late. I like my yeah, it's quite freeform.
Loosey goosey.
It's very loosey goosey. It's very loosey goosey.
Hey, everyone's different, and it works for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So that's the main thing, isn't it?
I'm still alive. I'm still going.
Hey, that's good. Hopefully, you'll still be around by the time this video goes out, and
Fingers crossed, man.
everything
Come
will
on.
be fine. It'll be fine. It's all right. All right then. Who has inspired you the most?
Oh man, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think I have it sounds weird. I don't think I have like role models or kind of people that have
Mhm.
necessarily inspired me. Um I remember yeah, okay, so like there's you can go two ways with this, I guess, in my mind. There's one way which is like cheesy but true, and that's like my wife inspires me. Like Molly
Mhm.
inspires me because has she's always teaching me how to be a better me because she's always growing to be a better version of her. So I've learned a lot from her.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's the other route, which is like, I guess, in actually to be fair, she even factors into the YouTube stuff because she's been like the biggest supporter since day one. I remember when I was like, yeah, I'll make some silly videos. I'll make some silly videos about horror games and I'll chuck them online and maybe two people will watch. I remember she would always say, no, this is going to go somewhere. She's like, I've got a feeling about it. This is going to go somewhere. This is going to do something for you that you don't even realize yet. And this would have been literally like 6 years ago when I had 10 subscribers or something. And she was always there going, no, honestly, I have a feeling. Um, and I believe what she says. Like I hang on her every word. So she's very much an inspiration for me and very much like a North Star. Um, if I ever waver, if I'm ever there, like, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing. She will right the ship. And I'm like, brilliant, thanks. That's what I needed to hear. I'm going to go and record a video. Um, and then in a smaller way, I remember starting my YouTube channel, and quite quickly I fell into the niche of VR
Mhm.
because one of the reasons I bought my PC. The first reason I bought my first PC was to make YouTube videos because I was always a console gamer. I was an Xbox kid, Nintendo kid first, and then Xbox.
Mhm.
But I got a PC because I was like, I want to make YouTube videos. And the second reason I got the PC was I want a VR headset. And I think the first thing I Googled when I got my PC was, is there a way to play not VR games in VR? And then I found Vorpex. I think the thing that
Mhm.
the thing that led me there, I think, was a Jacksepticeye video, and I think he was playing Bioshock Infinite, and I was like, oh my god, he's playing Bioshock in VR. This is insane. So I went down that route, and that led me to find a bunch of channels of people who are still within the VR community, still making videos, and I remember
Mhm.
following them or subscribing to them and being like, oh, that's my goal. I'd love for my channel to be that big.
Mhm.
And it was like Paradise Decay was one of them, and I was like, I'd love to be this guy. He was like every time I looked for Vorpex or like something, he was there. He was like the dude.
The
And he
minute you
uploaded,
said Vorpex, that was the name that popped into my head.
and then it was like it was like a chain reaction because then once you found one of us, you
Mhm.
find all of us. It's like a package deal. But I remember I found PD, and then I found a gamer tag quite quickly, and and those people, Mike, VR Oasis, Gamertag
Mhm.
VR, Paradise Decay, in terms of creating YouTube content, I think they are an inspiration to me as well because those three creators are all very different creators, and then I think that's the best thing in the world about them because they are all authentically themselves, and
Mhm.
all three of them have a completely different approach to almost the same thing. Um, and I love that. And they've all carved out their own story and their own path, and they've grown to a place that they are now, and they're continuing to grow. It it is inspiring being around people that love that same thing that you love and are trying to do the same thing that you do. And yeah, it was nice to find them really early on and be like, oh, there are other people out here that they're doing this, man. And yeah, so yeah, the GTs of the world, the PDs of the world, the Mikes of the
Mhm.
world, they're an inspiration as well in a different way than Molly, of course, but
Yeah.
but yeah, an inspiration of course.
It's interesting. Other people have mentioned the same sort of thing, and one thing that I've always said about like the VR creator community is there doesn't feel like there's competition. It feels more like a family.
Yeah,
Everyone tries to lift everyone else up,
yeah,
and I've
100.
never seen that anywhere else with that sort of stuff because
I
it
don't think
always
it.
is usually about beef with this content creator or that, and we just don't have that.
Not interested in it.
No.
Just not interested in it. I just don't. Yeah, I think it's probably got something to do with we all know we're in this hobby that isn't top dog. It isn't the biggest thing in the world.
No.
It isn't taking over the world. It isn't mainstream as much as we would all like it to be, and we'd all go, oh, this year maybe this is the year. It never gets there, and we all know that, but we're in it because we love it. We're not in it
Yeah.
because we want to make £1 million, because we're not going to make that kind of money. We're not going to make. And you look at, and there are exceptions. There are VR creators who cater to maybe a younger audience who
Mhm.
have hit that 1 million subscriber mark. But if you look at some of the stalwarts, people like Nathy, it's
Mhm.
crazy to me that he hasn't got to that 1 million, and that's not to say that he isn't worthy of it, but it's like that's kind of a really good case study in how VR hasn't it's grown,
Yeah.
but someone who outputs the quality of content that Nathy puts out over the amount of time that he's done it, you would
Mhm.
expect like he should be over 1 million subs by now. He just should be, and it's kind of criminal that he's not. And someone like GT should be way over
Yeah.
100,000 by now, but we're not in it for the money. We don't make that. We don't make
Mhm.
money really from this. That's why I have to work a full-time job. Like this isn't. I'm not rolling in the dough here. Come on, I work 2 jobs. I do like 80+ hours a week. It's crazy. So yeah, I think we're all just passionate, and that's what keeps us humble.
Okay. Cool. Well, that is section 1 done. We
Oh,
have learned
section 1. Oh god, I
a
am a rambler.
lot.
I'm
I
sorry.
know it's good, isn't it? No. This is what we want. This is why you're here. We want rambling. It's excellent.
All right. Okay.
It's good. So we've learned a lot more about you in that one. And I think that's really good. That's what people are going to. I think people are going to really enjoy that. Yeah, really
Thanks,
do.
man.
Okay.
Cool.
So section 2 is going to be all about VR and gaming because we have to, because that's how we all know each other. So,
Yeah.
what was your first experience in gaming?
In gaming, like,
Mm.
wow, oh, blimey. My dad made a video game for me. I can't remember what he used to do it. I can't remember if it was a Commodore or an Atari. It was something, and
Mhm.
he'd created this game, and it was called Benjamin's Penguin. And it was, for some reason, I was like the titular character, and I was in. It was kind of like one of those. It's not a side scroll. It's like one of the like the vertical scrollers.
Oh yeah, so something like Spy Hunter, where you're driving up
Yeah,
the screen.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go
yeah.
up and you dodge stuff and you
1942,
shoot.
that sort of thing.
Yes, very much that.
Hmm.
And I was for some reason my little character was in the North Pole or something and was like shooting penguins. I'm not sure what was going on really. I have a very vague memory of it, but I think that was my first like my earliest memory. My earliest memory was watching my dad play video games,
Mm.
and I remember him playing this Spider-Man game. And when I in my eyes as a child, it was like the most amazing thing ever. But I've since gone back and looked at screenshots, and Spider-Man is literally just like a red line. Like it's barely even a character model. But my first, I think like the gateway drug maybe was the Mega Drive. I remember getting that for Christmas with
Mhm.
Sonic, and it was one of it was that cheesy kind of like fake out thing where open the presents and I'm like, oh, this is nice, and I was only really little, and then like later on they're like, oh, we found an extra present here in the cupboard. And it's like, oh, where did that come from? And it was the Mega Drive, and like and that just set me off. Like from there, it was like it was no going back, and I've just I it's all I ever wanted. Every birthday, every Christmas was just more video games, please. I need all the video games. And then
Mhm.
I was a very Nintendo kid. That was the line I went down. You know, N64, Game Boys, GameCube, and then Xbox grabbed me, and I would like to see a running total of how many hours I've spent in my entire life playing video games. I would and I wouldn't.
Are you sure? This is
Yeah,
what I was thinking because it's like,
yeah.
oh no, I've wasted my life. Sort of
I mean,
thing.
it's in the years. I think for sure it's a scary amount of time. But
Just in your Steam library when you see that, and you're like, oh dear God.
I've got like 1,500 hours in Hunt Showdown alone, like, and that's an obscene amount of time to play one video game. So, yeah, Mega Drive was kind of my gateway drug, I think. But watching my dad
Mhm.
play video games when I was really young was kind of like the catalyst,
Okay,
got me going.
so what was your first experience in VR?
I can't quite pinpoint it. I'm confident. So I'm pretty sure my very first experience in VR was the Blue.
Okay.
Someone put me into the Blue, and I
Mhm.
can't remember which version of Oculus it was at that time, but it was at some kind of gaming event. And I remember being
Mhm.
in a big. They put me in like I want to say a pen, like a petting zoo, and there was a person there. They put me in, and I was like floored. And I'm at like one of. You're gonna laugh at me, but something I'm scared of is whales. I know it's a really
The
weird thing to be
country or
scared
the
of.
animal?
Both, but the animal. And I know it's a weird thing to be scared of because it's not like one's going to ever rock up outside my house or anything, but like
I mean,
it's
there
this,
are ones called killer whales, so it's not a
they
bad
don't
thing.
bother me. It's the really big ones. It's like your sperm whales. It's like it's the huge,
So your blue whales,
blue whales. It's
okay, all right,
and I think it's
fine.
probably like a, I can't remember what the word is for the phobia of like really big things, but I think it's that. And yeah, I know, right? Um, not something I have to really worry about in other aspects of my life. Um, but I remember playing that and being like, Jesus, that whale is far too big, and that kind of freaked me out. And then I didn't have a PC. I didn't have a PC for as I say for years. Like I was a
Mhm.
console goober. Like I was
Yeah.
Xbox 360 and all that, and that's where I was. And I told my then manager at Game that I wanted to get a PC, and they kind of like talked me out of it. They're like, mocked and ridiculed, but like, you don't need a PC. That's stupid. Stick with your Xbox. And I was like, okay. Years later, I did it, and I got myself an Oculus Rift. Would have
Mhm.
been a Rift. Would have been a Rift. Rift S. Probably would have been a Rift S at that point. That's probably where I went into that. But prior to that, I had a PSVR. PSVR was probably my first proper. Like, I went out and bought that. I booked a demo at, it was either EGX or Rezzed,
Mhm.
and I tried it here in the UK. And the first thing they put me in was the mech one. I loved it.
Battlezone?
No,
Or
where
oh,
when you blew up.
Scavenger's Odyssey?
No, PSVR. It was a Sony title, and when you blew up in the mech, you came flying out the top of it, and it gave you proper like motion
Riggs.
sickness. Rigs.
Riggs. I
And I
really liked Riggs.
loved Rigs. I was like, this
Yeah, I
is the
did.
coolest shit ever. And then I remember playing the kitchen demo for Resident Evil and being like, this is the
Mhm.
scariest shit ever. And it just like, it did something like in my brain, like all the
Mm.
synapses were firing. I was like, oh, this is mad. Like I'm actually here. Like, and I still have that every now. The right VR game can make me do that now.
Yep.
All these years on, I have that kind of like, I put the headset on and I have that like moment of like, oh, this is crazy. But I think
It's
it probably was.
very far and few between these days, but there are the odd title where you kind of go, ha ha ha, when you start, don't it?
I fully agree. It's
Yeah.
getting less and less, and I'm like more immune to it. And I'm actually, and it's reflected in my content, but I actually have those moments more now in the weird modded shit that I find, or
Mm-hmm.
like the UEVR experiences, because there's this element of like, oh, this shouldn't be in VR, but it is.
Mm.
Like it's kind of forbidden fruit. But the PSVR, I think, was really a gateway drug for me. And I was like buying every game that was in. I was like, I'll buy it all. Like, I don't care if it's crap. I want it because I want to try see what it's like.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd have friends come over and I'd stick them into Rush of Blood, and I'd just watch them freak out. And like, I loved that. Like, so yeah, PSVR was probably the real gateway. But I had played VR previously. I
Sure.
played bits and bobs at friends, and the Blue, I think, was my very first
All right. Cool.
experience.
So you were saying like some games give you that whoa the first time thing.
Mm.
So what has been your favorite experience in VR?
It, oh, there's so many. There's so many. VR has, even even at its jankiest, even at its most broken and wonky, VR has fulfilled some like serious like wish fulfillment stuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
Walking through with Vorpex, walking through the areas of Dark Souls 3, like seeing it with scale. And it doesn't really work, and it's a bit broken, and Vorpex,
Mm-hmm.
it's not great. But even it's like a pizza, isn't it? Like even a bad pizza is still a pizza, is still good. and it's transported me into games and allowed me to walk around in. Like I remember Vorpex at a point did work with the original BioShock, and I was able to go in and play a portion of BioShock with scale and with depth and with the and
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, I'm actually here in Rapture. That is so cool. So it's those experiences that have meant the most to me. Like being able to play Half-Life 2 in full VR, like being able to play
Mm-hmm.
Doom 3 in full VR, and the original Dooms and Tomb Raider. I have such a like visceral nostalgic connection to so many of these games. I played them flat, sitting on the edge of my bed back at
Mm-hmm.
home and being like, "Oh, this is amazing." And now I can step into them and it's
Mm-hmm.
like full 360, and they're the experiences that have affected me the most, is the games I'm already connected to. And it's stuff like Luke Ross banging out a mod for Elden Ring, and it's like, okay, like yeah, it isn't running super well, but I'm still walking through the lands beyond. I'm still here in Elden Ring. I can still fight
Mm-hmm.
these bosses in first person. Like that's crazy, and that's so powerful. And I think it's a shame that so many of these experiences, like your Half-Life 2 VRs, and I say the Dooms and stuff, they require just that little bit more effort from consumers. Like I can't point someone who has a Quest to the
Mm-hmm.
Quest store to buy Doom or Half-Life 2. Like
Sure.
Half-Life 2, you need a PC, you need to download it. that's actually quite easy. Half-Life 2's on Steam, and you can just do it through there. But even that, for some people, it's a bit too much. But I think they're the experiences that could pull in, not entirely, but they could pull in an audience that are a little bit cold towards VR, because there's a nostalgic line between like, oh, I've played this game, I know these places, I know these sequences, but walking up to the guard in Half-Life 2 who says pick up that can, but doing it in VR and picking up the can is so different to seeing it on a flat screen and doing it. So it's all these modders that are creating these versions. I think
it's like
really
putting on a pair of comfy shoes.
It
is. It's like, I like these shoes. I've always worn these shoes, and now I'm wearing them again, and it all feels
I know
right.
this.
Yeah,
but it's you're feeling them. It's something I say in my videos a lot. Is one of the reasons I waffle is because I'm a waffler, but one of the reasons I talk a lot is because in a VR video, you can't show people what you're seeing. Yes, what they're seeing is equivalent to just a flat game on a screen. So trying to constantly say, like Crysis, I was just playing the Crysis VR mod. I've been playing that a lot recently. It's like these locations. I know these locations, but now I know how far away that rock is. Like I really know how far away that rock is, and I know how big that turtle is, and it's that stuff that's really hard to quantify, and that's the stuff that's really that's what really gets me with VR.
This is one of the reasons I'm quite excited for the Flat to VR studios.
100%.
To see
they get it.
Where they're going to be pulling from and what licenses they can get hold of from our historical catalogue of stuff that we can go, it's that.
And all of the guys working within and underneath the umbrella of Flat to VR Studios and Team Beef and all of them are just so lovely. Some of the nicest people. Met them at Gamescom. What a they're like the Avengers of VR development. Like they're incredible, and they're all so passionate about it. And it's really special.
Cool. So on the flip side of that, what has been your worst experience in VR?
God, my worst experience in VR. I can't necessarily pinpoint an exact one, and I don't know that I want to be that cruel. But I've had there's been, this is the thing people don't see with YouTube and content creation. There have been hundreds of hours worth of evenings and recording sessions now where I sit down with something and I'll play for 2 hours and I'll record for 2 hours and then I'll come away and I have nothing to show for it because it's a miserable experience. It's clear that I've had no fun. It's clear that the game isn't ready for public consumption. I'm not the kind of guy who will just put out a video where I just flame something. Not because I want to appear to only have a positive outlook towards games, but because I don't want to give it the energy. Filming it and not enjoying it is exhausting. And then you want me to sit and edit that thing that I didn't enjoy into a video, and that's more. And then you want me to sit and make a thumbnail for that thing, and then you want me to. I'm not a masochist. I don't want to sit within that bubble of negativity. But there have been so many games and so many experiences that I play, and I'm like, you either don't get it, you don't get what makes VR so special, and you've completely missed the point, or even worse, you're just throwing something together and chucking it out there to hopefully make a quick buck. And I've seen a lot of that, and there is a lot of that, and I think the Quest store in its current state is indicative of that. Like it's a mess. It needs moderation. It has fallen into complete disrepair and chaos. The good stuff doesn't get the visibility that it deserves. And it's just sad to see it get to this point where just shovelware is pushed to the front of the store and kind of pushed into people's eyeballs constantly. And it's like, I get it. I'm not the market, or I'm not the target audience for these kind of Gorilla Tag clones, but Gorilla Tag had a level of polish and a level of charm and a level of execution that so much of the shovelware doesn't. That's just kind of just pushed out the door. I respect Gorilla Tag. I like Gorilla Tag, but so much of this crap now that's getting like pushed out there is like, thick and fast and isn't good quality. But yeah, I've sat down with a lot of bad VR products that either just don't work, they're glitchy, they're uncomfortable to play, they make you feel sick, they're laggy to the point where you get headaches. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a quality control thing still going on. I've compared the Quest store several times now to like the Wii section back when I used to work at Game, because the Wii section used to be just full of games you'd pick them up and be like, what is that? Made by some developer you've never heard of, and like it's clearly a knockoff of something else.
I've compared with other friends recently. The Metastore is like what Steam Greenlight was.
Oh,
do you remember? And it's
is.
kind of like that's what it feels like to me.
It's
and
that
I'm like,
with less porn.
Yes. But you
Less
can't have
sexy
everything,
hentai
can
games.
you?
I know, yeah. That would make it better, if anything.
If anything, maybe. There's a clue for you, Zuck.
Yeah, come on. Do an adult section.
Again, it's like they have these algorithms, so they know what people are playing. So why are they not tailored to what you're doing, like the Netflix does and the other one? It's but everyone sees, it or whatever it is.
30 different versions.
Yeah, I know. It's bizarre.
Game.
It's truly bizarre.
I shouldn't be seeing that stuff because I don't play those games. My front page should be, bang, here's games like Metro or like Batman or like Alien or like Behemoth. This is what you like, but it's not how it works.
Because it's like they have that info. They know what you've got. They know what you've played. They know how long you've played it for. Why are you showing me this thing that I clearly have no interest in? It's very bizarre. Very bizarre.
So that part of VR is...
Sure. It makes perfect sense.
It exposes the kind of the infantile side of VR. Like we're not we've not been around for as long as mainstream gaming, and
All right then. So when you're trying a new game, whether it be a VR game or a flat game, what instantly turns you on or off?
Oh man, in a VR. Okay, so in a VR game, I can almost know if I'm going to like it from the menu, from the UI immediately.
Oh, like interesting.
And I have like. And
Are we saying the look of the UI or how you interact with the UI, or a combination of
look, feel, or like how it's implemented? Because I think you can do so many interesting things in VR. And okay, I am going to use an example now. I am going to be mean. So I can't remember if it was it called Hitman 3 Reloaded on the Quest version of Hitman 3.
Okay, fine. I have not played this because I watched your video.
So something like that, and I know when you load into that and you are greeted with a black abyss all around you, behind you, like that's none of that's utilized. Like you are in a fully 360 encompassing, a space that's meant to play with all your senses, and there's just blackness and a flat floating screen, which is just the flat screen game's UI that hasn't been adapted to work well in VR, and you're trying to point and click on things, and you can point and click, but you can also use the stick to move through things. If you haven't taken the time to create a UI and a menu environment that leans into everything that makes VR great, I can almost always know just from that moment, like this isn't gonna be good. Like if I'm met with a floating flat screen and just blackness all around me, and I'm using the stick, I'm like, okay, because that is first impressions, man. They mean a lot to me, I think, and I love a game that has a UI that's immediately like interactive. It's the most interactive video game. We should be reaching out and touching things. And
Iron Man is a good example of that, because you have the wavy floor that you can pulse and does things. Yeah.
Playing around with all that. Even something like Surgeon Sim, where you're standing there and you've got the desk in front of you, and you can play with the cup, and you can throw the cup, and you can write on the pad. And you're approaching it in a way where you've actually thought about what makes VR good. And I can almost tell immediately if the UI is bad. It's not foolproof. sometimes UI is bad, the game's great.
Mhm.
But I get like a feeling in my belly that's like, oh, here we go
Here
again.
we go again. Yeah, fair enough.
And you know, and I think on the flip side for the good stuff, I think in VR, how this sounds like I'm finicky, but how it feels to pick something up in VR. Like it's the simple
Mhm.
interactions. If they're done right, they put a big smile on my face. Like when my character grabs something,
Mhm.
I want the hand to actually look like it's grabbing that thing. And so
Yeah.
often, sometimes you get a game where you'll pick something up, but the hand's still kind of like this, like you
Mhm.
know, and the thing's just kind of on it, and there's no grip, and it's little things. One of my tests I do in every video is I try and do a thumbs up, and if I can't do a thumbs up, I get angry. You know, like it. I should be able to point with my fingers in VR. I should be able to do
Uh-huh.
pointing. I should be able
Yeah.
to do thumbs up. I should be able to do
Mhm.
basic hand movements.
Yeah.
And if I can't, if it's like a static hand that just does that,
Mhm.
that is like I'm like you've
Mhm.
wound me up now. Like I just want to do a thumbs up. Come on.
Yeah.
It's the small details because I think the small details are what elevates VR experiences. If you get them right, I'm in. If you get them
It's
wrong,
like the soundtrack to a movie.
100%.
If you
Take
don't
away the
notice
music.
it, yeah. But it's like a lot of the time you
Oh,
think you don't notice it, but it's elevating what's going on.
so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, that's I agree with that, and a lot of that stuff that you said there, particularly the UI kind of thing as well, because it's kind of like give me something to do, and it's.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that impressed me the most in recent times was it was a use of MR that I wasn't
Oh,
expecting that fit really well, and it was in Assassin's Creed.
yeah. I
And I
really
was
like
like,
that.
"That's so smart! That's such a good idea." I
This is
really,
cool.
yeah,
Because a lot of the time when we're playing VR, we're just standing in the middle of a room with a
exactly.
box on our head.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just see a big floating flat thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to move around and use all my
Yeah,
extremities to do things. So
yeah. But also, it fit with the world that you're in
it
and the
did.
character you're playing. So it was just like that's smart. That's a really smart choice. I like that. That's good.
Going into
So
the
yeah,
bloody Animus, wasn't I? I was getting
exactly.
sucked in. It was great.
All right. Okay. So, what do you think right now is the most beneficial hardware or software advancement in VR?
Most beneficial hardware or software advancement in VR.
Mm.
I think software. I will just come out and say it. I sound like a fanboy, and I will say UEVR.
Mm-hmm.
Because although it isn't super consumer friendly, it's free. I say consumer like you have to pay for it. It's bloody free. But it isn't super user friendly. Maybe there
No.
is an element of you need to dig into this. So it's only going to really appeal to a certain portion of people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people that want to tinker, and I'm very much a tinkerer. So it ticks all the boxes for me, scratches that part of my brain. But what it can offer
Mm-hmm.
to the modding community to use it as a baseline to create mods that they can
Mm-hmm.
then release for game, it's astronomical. The fact that I can hop into and I'm not super technical, the fact I can hop into a game, most games, and I can attach like I can hide the skeletal mesh from my character, and I can
Mm-hmm.
attach like guns and weapons to my hands and my controllers, and I can do that within I don't know, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. That is, that is bonkers. That is
Mm-hmm.
actually insane. This game's not supposed to be in VR, and here I am in it. Got a gun and I'm shooting stuff and I'm pointing. I really hope, Prey Dog, everyone that works within that project, I really hope, and I'm sure they will, they continue to push that forward and kind of because I think they have something very special there. And if they can get it to work with more Unreal Engine games, which I'm sure is a huge task. I think currently it's just 4 and 5, but if you could open that up to 3 and older and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's such an incredible tool. And I think the bit that people don't really take into account is what it will do for modding as a whole. I think someone's used it to create a new Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy mod, and they've used that as the foundation, and they've built on top of that with full motion controls and stuff, which is just like
Oh, nice.
the basis that it creates. Hardware wise, I think MR as the tech for
Mm-hmm.
MR and good quality MR, because I poo
Mm-hmm.
pooed it. I was like MR. MR's rubbish. It's gonna be crap. And then I tried it and I was like, no, this is the coolest thing. When it's done right, it's so cool.
It is the thing in recent times that excited me the most.
Yeah.
because it's still early days, so we still have no real idea of what people can actually do with it. And I think the one game recently that surprised me the most was Shattered.
Oh, I loved it.
Which is just like, that is such a smart use. Such a smart use of MR.
It was the very early moments of that game where there's a big door in your room, and I could look both sides of the door, and I could I was like, this is amazing.
It was taking objects from another room you can see and putting them into your room to interact with them that changes with stuff in that room. And I was like, this is smart. It was the
vent, looking into another room.
That was the thing, putting the vent on the floor and then seeing the room beneath it. And I was like, man, this is clever. This is smart.
That was one of those games that when I put the headset on, it was sunny and light outside. And when I took the headset off, it was dark. I was like, how long have I been in here? Where am I? Lost all sense of space and time. MR for sure. It's amazing. Love it.
That's really good. Cool. All right. What has been your proudest achievement during your VR journey?
Sticking with it.
Oh, that's really sweet.
just not quitting, because it's hard, and that's like the brutal honest truth is it's really hard, and if you start on the journey. I saw some stat the other day that said about how many people start streaming or start content creation and how many actually stick it out past, I think it's something like 3 years. Like there's this point where it's just everyone goes, nah, because they haven't seen that thing. And I think, and when I first started doing it and started to see traction, I had a few friends that started doing it as well. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice that they've seen me, and they're like, oh, I'm going to give that a go as well. And they would ask me constantly, like, oh, when does it get better? When do I get more views? And I'm like, you have to keep, you have to put that out of your mind, and you have to keep going. If you go with this mindset, you will just stop. So I think, having the determination to just keep going, because it's just something I like. I just like doing it. Like, I think that's why I'm still here, and that's why I'll still be here next year, and why I'll still be here the year after. I just like doing it. Like, it's a great creative outlet for me. But there have been times where I'm like, I can't do this. This is exhausting. And pushing through that and going, no, I love this. I want to keep doing it. That's my proudest thing. It's just carrying on and just doing.
That is probably, I genuinely mean it. That's actually one of the best answers I've heard for that question, in my opinion. I think that's a really, really good answer. And I think it can show everyone that content creation is not the easiest thing in the world. And you really have to be dedicated to do it and to continue to do it. So, I would agree with that. Yeah. That is all of section 2. We have spoken about VR and gaming. We are 2/3 of the way through, sir. Okay. Section 3 is a questionnaire that was created by a French journalist called Bernard Pivot. It was popularized in the TV show Inside the Actors Studio. These are 10 questions. Generally, one-word answers. But again,
good Lord, okay.
Feel free to ramble. There again, no wrong answers. But first thing that comes into your head, don't try and think about it too much. All right?
Can it get psychoanalyzed?
Maybe. No, it's not.
Oh, shit.
Right. No, it's fine. Trust me, I know enough people in the VR community. I would never want to psychoanalyze any.
No, you don't want to dive into the.
I like you people. Why would I do that? So it's fine.
True.
All right, then. So, first question is, what is your favorite word?
Do you want me to say the first thing that comes to my head?
Yep.
Cheese came to my head.
All right, cool. I like cheese. It's good.
I don't even particularly like cheese that much, but
but apparently the word is what you like. Okay. Yeah. What is your least favorite word?
Moist.
Moist. It's popular.
Yeah. I'm not
a few people have said that one. No, I get that. There is something about it that just gives you a bit of a shiver, isn't there?
It does. It's a weird one. No.
All right, then. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Can't do one word, but things that are unique. And a unique vision or a unique proposition. That gets me going. I'm like,
okay.
I've not seen this before. I've not seen anyone try and do this. I like this.
So, like, a swing for the fences. You respect someone taking that chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. Okay. So, on the flip side of that, what turns you off?
Oh, the flip side. So
Yeah.
the playing it safe, like
Yeah.
the really safe bets,
Mhm.
the stuff that is so by the numbers. You can see the twists and turns coming from a million miles away. Like,
Mhm.
I know where this. You sit down to watch a film within the first 5 minutes. I know how this is going to end. Hate that shit. Like,
Yeah.
winds me up. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
comforting, but no,
All right then. What is your favorite curse word?
I don't think I can say it.
Which can?
Cunt. 100% cunt. Cunt.
You can
Especially
say it.
especially as a British guy, like I love it.
And it's
Oh,
generally said with some venom as well,
it's a
isn't
bit
it?
of venom, but I call all my friends. That's what we call each other, and
Yeah.
it's nothing but love. It's
Yeah.
what me and GT call each other all the time. He'll send me a voice message, and it'll be like, "How you doing? You massive, like brilliant.
Yeah,
Cheers,
yeah.
mate. Yeah, all the time."
It's a very Australian thing where a cunt's your mate and your mate's a cunt, isn't it? It's
1000%. Yeah,
yeah, that's the way it works.
that's it.
All right then. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise do I love?
Yeah.
Oh, cats purring, like a cat purr.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a cat's like really content, I love that. And those little kind of like chirpy noises cats make when they're kind of not quite meowing at you, but they're kind of just like, I love cats.
Trills, isn't it?
Little trills that I love
Yeah.
it. I love them. They're too cute.
All right then. So, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, oh god, so many. Eh, like I'm triggered by so many. Like a rustling, loud, crisp packet or like a popcorn bag. It's again cinema related. Those kind of like just shut up. Like what are you digging for in there, man? Like oh, I hate it. Winds me right up.
Yeah. No, I get that. Cool. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Barista.
Oh, okay. Do you
First thing
drink
that came to my head.
coffee?
No, I hate coffee.
But you'd like to try it. They've got a shiny machine.
I'd
It
like
looks
to-
fun. Is that what it is?
Yes, I'd like to do the little art on the top. Just draw like
okay.
penises and stuff. It would be great. Yeah.
Cool. Good. I
That's
look
that's my
forward to
dream
the
now.
opening of your coffee shop. That'd be excellent.
Beardo's Beans. That's what it'll be called.
That's another channel, that is.
It is.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
A vet or a doctor, because I wouldn't be able to cope with people passing away and dying. Wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
It would break me. No. Much respect to anyone that has the power to do that. No, I couldn't do it.
I can understand that. And our final question for you today, Ben, is if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
How's it going, cunt?
Ben, that has been you behind the headset. Thank you ever so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. It's been a blast. It's been lovely.
Good. I'm glad you really enjoyed yourself. Why don't you tell everyone online where they can find you?
You can find me on YouTube. If you type Beardo Benjo into the box, I should come up. If you don't see this face, that's someone else. That's some kind of imposter. But if you see this face, then you're in the right place.
Oh,
if you see this face, you're in the right place.
It's look at that, and that's why you've got that many subscribers. Excellent.
Oh, hell yeah.
All those links, we'll put them in the description of the video down below. But again, thank you very much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. And for everyone watching, we'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.